Hello everyone. Today you'll hear a short recap of the movie KO. During the final minute of an intense championship fight, Bastian got caught in a chokehold. The fighter managed to break free and, getting back on his feet, badly rocked Enzo. He kept pressing the attack and, once on top of his opponent, slammed him hard onto the mat. In the end, Enzo suffered fatal injuries. It all happened right in front of his wife and son. Bastian later paid tribute to the fallen fighter by visiting the columbarium. Enzo's family showed up there too, and an angry Leo even punched the champion in the face. Bastian deeply regrets how it all ended, but nothing can change it now. 2 years later, we see masked gangsters armed with cleavers chasing a man through a factory. A huge brute blocks his path and knocks him to the ground with a single punch. Together with his gang leader brother, he walks past, leaving the poor guy to be butchered by their thugs. The next morning, the police arrive at the crime scene. A detective discovers a massive pool of blood. Nearby, 4 bodies are tied to chairs, hacked apart with cleavers. They all belong to a local crime boss nicknamed Andalusian. Detective Kenza recognizes the signature style. A brutal gang has been taking over rival territories and carrying out public executions. But Captain Warser only laughs at Kenza, claiming there is no butcher gang and she made the whole thing up. Kenza receives a call from her informant Leo, the son of the dead fighter. He was at the factory and saw who wiped out Andalusian's crew. The problem is, they saw him too, and now he's being hunted. When Leo spots the police, he panics for some reason and runs away. Bastian is still haunted by nightmares of killing Enzo. He now lives in a shack on the outskirts of town and survives on a laborious salary, taking any hard job he can find. One evening, Enzo's wife appears at his doorstep. The widow explains that after losing her husband, she neglected her son. 6 months ago, Leo ran away from home and started dealing drugs. A week ago, he sent her a message saying he was in serious trouble. Since then, his phone has been switched off. She can't rely on the police and hopes Bastian will want to repay his debt. Recently, Leo had been staying with his cousin in Marseille. That's exactly where Bastian heads. The giant approaches some local punks and orders them to watch his bike, otherwise he'll rip their heads off. The door to the cousin's apartment is open. Judging by the wrecked interior, someone had already been there before Bastian. Suddenly, Detective Kenza presses a gun to his head. Bastian explains that Leo's mother asked him for help. The two clearly don't trust each other. Kenza notices traces of blood. After questioning some neighborhood kids, she learns that the cousin, Guga, is currently in the hospital. He was brutally beaten the day before. The leader of the butchers is furious because his thugs still haven't caught Leo. They are holding Andalusian in a container and torturing him. Only he knows where a huge shipment of merchandise is hidden. The gangsters did something terrible to Andalusian's daughter, and he finally broke. Even though Kenza told the big guy to stay away, he arrived at the hospital before the detective did. Bastian explained why he was helping this family, and this time Kenza didn't push him away. Meanwhile, the gang printed posters with Leo's face on them. They promised a huge reward to anyone who found the boy. Guga looks awful. His face was burned, his knees were stabbed with a screwdriver, 6 fingers and 4 ribs were broken, and 1 rib punctured his lung. The attackers wore masks. The guy honestly told them he didn't know where Leo was, but they kept torturing him anyway. Kenza believes she might reach Leo through his girlfriend. The gangsters who tortured Leo also started threatening Kenza. She told them to get lost. Judging by the conversation, they already knew each other. One of the psychos sent greetings from her brother. That pushed Kenza over the edge. She grabbed a baton and started beating the gangsters until Bastian finally pulled her away. Because of that stunt, Commissioner Canistra removed her from the case and took away her badge and gun. Even her partner didn't support her. It seems Bastian is the only one still willing to help. Guga gave them a lead on the sister of Leo's girlfriend. She works at a nightclub. The butchers recruited every small-time thug in Marseille to search for Leo. They were hanging posters right outside the apartment of his girlfriend, Inai. Bastian and Kenza went to the nightclub. Fada, Inai's sister, refused to talk to the detective. Then a security guard stepped in, only for Bastian to place a hand on his shoulder. 3 more guys in suits showed up and started a fight. Kenza took on the head guard but got brutally knocked out with a kick to the head. Bastian didn't fare much better. They beat him like a punching bag and left him lying on the floor, but that was only the first round. Bastian switched into berserker mode and stormed back into the club. The first guard went flying after a single punch. Fada got scared of the monster and ran away. Security tried to stop Bastian again, but this time he didn't hold back. After brutally beating the men, he smashed broken glass into their faces. Even pepper spray failed to stop the champion. Bastian tried to chase after Fada, but the guards just wouldn't leave him alone. One had to be choked out, while another got a vicious ground and pound beating. But the thing that annoyed Bastian the most was some random idiot. The cocky guy went flying off the second floor. The final clash with security ended with 2 more knockouts, though to be fair, those bouncers were incredibly tough. And even then, the fight still wasn't over. A shotgun barrel was suddenly pressed against the back of Bastian's head. Kenza covered the giant by taking the guy down with a rubber bullet. Fada was cornered, so she finally had no choice but to talk to the two of them. Inai is currently hiding in her mother's apartment in a gang-controlled neighborhood. It's better not to go there at night. Kenza helped Bastian treat his wounds and couldn't stop admiring his biceps. She even asked whether he had a girlfriend and all that. Kenza then told him about her brother. The butchers immediately disliked him. The gang tied him to a chair and burned him alive, then sent the video of the execution straight to her phone. After that, the butchers disappeared for a year, but now they're causing chaos again. They constantly recruit young psychopaths, every lunatic they can find on the streets of Marseille. After opening up to him, Kenza decided she wanted to sleep with this mountain of muscles. Bastian reluctantly agreed. Meanwhile, Abdel met with the leader of a rival gang and offered peace. The territory would remain theirs, but all merchandise would now go through Abdel. The tortured Andalusian was dragged out of the container. Chains were attached to his arms, and motorcycles started pulling until his arms were torn off. The gangster immediately agreed to the truce. The pair managed to find Inai's apartment. At the same time, her sister was taken to the police station for questioning about yesterday's fight. Commissioner Canistra worries that his subordinate could spark a gang war, so they rush out immediately. It turns out Kenza's partner, Sarkishan, is a rat. He instantly informed Abdel where the boy was hiding. Leo got furious when he saw Bastian. He didn't want to go anywhere with him, but then realized he was putting his girlfriend in danger, so he temporarily let go of his old grudge. Right then, gangsters arrived outside the building. Our heroes escaped through the back exit. Only 2 butchers on a motorcycle were waiting for them there. Bastian said he'd handle them himself. He sprinted toward the bike and, with a flying leap, smashed both attackers to the ground. Then an entire mob armed with cleavers and baseball bats came running around the corner. All Bastian could do was run. Another group appeared in front of him, and a third came from the side. It seemed like he was finished, but suddenly the police showed up and arrested the entire crowd. Leo and his girlfriend were finally safe. The commissioner once again scolded Kenza for acting on her own. Meanwhile, Leo thanked Bastian for the help, but the kid still admitted he would never forgive him for killing his father. Leo is about to give his statement now. Abdel ordered the rat to do whatever it takes to stop the boy from talking, but he understands he can't rely on just one snitch. Force will have to be used. A wave of violence erupts across the entire city. One by one, police officers leave the station and head toward crime scenes all over town. Leo explained that he had gotten close to Andalusian's crew and decided to find out what kind of meeting they were having at the factory. It turned out to be a trap set up by an informant. Leo never managed to see the man's face. When Abdel slit one of his enemies' throats, the boy accidentally gave himself away and had to run for his life. Almost nobody was left at the police station, and the few officers who remained realized something was wrong. Leo finally admitted why he had been scared of the police during their first meeting. The butchers had referred to the informant as a cop. Kenza immediately suspected her partner, but Captain Warsa suddenly slit Sarkishan's throat himself. He was about to kill the boy too, but Kenza shot the rat first. At that exact moment, the lights in the station went out. An armed gang stormed the building and opened fire on everyone in sight. Several cops were gunned down. Kenza covered the commissioner and Bastian so they could make it to safety. Maybe they could escape through the emergency exit. The commissioner went first, and was instantly shot dead. Abdel stepped out with a smile aimed at Kenza, but ducked for cover when several bullets slammed into his body armor. The trio hid in an interrogation room, then quietly slipped back into the main hall. After putting on body armor, they crawled toward the exit. Bastian shoved a gangster aside and grabbed his shotgun. As soon as the thug stood up, Bastian blasted him with his own weapon. Abdel appeared and once again opened chaotic fire. Shielding himself with body armor, Bastian charged straight ahead and took down one of the shooters. But Abdel's brother knocked him out cold with a devastating punch using brass knuckles. Meanwhile, the gang leader pointed his weapon at Leo. Kenza saved him just in time. Abdel grabbed the woman and threw her into the next office. He intended to deal with the policewoman the same way he once dealt with her brother. At the same time, Bastian clashed with Abdel's dangerous brother and got knocked down again. The gangster made a mistake thinking the fight was over. Bastian tackled the brute and started smashing his fists into him. But a second later, a wooden shard was driven deep into his side. The brothers began choking their opponents. Kenza was the first to break free. She rammed her baton into Abdel's eye, charged forward, and drove it straight through the gangster's brain. Bastian escaped by using the wooden shard stuck in his side. He started beating the thug with everything he had and finally finished him off by snapping his neck with a kick. Only then did the sound of police sirens finally fill the air. Leo and his girlfriend could finally relax. His mother arrived to see the son she hadn't seen in 6 months. Bastian redeemed himself for the past, and Kenza avenged her brother, while also finding herself a strong man.